You're the third person this week that's told me that they're going to get one. That's awesome.
So it's one of those things where I have a loan partner, but I really just want her to focus on like managing the pipeline with my processor and getting commissions and doing pre-quals. That's what I need her to do. Like, I don't need her, this sounds horrible, but I really don't need her to be like, I can't do that, I'm updating your social media. Like,
no, you want her, right. I've always looked at our roles as being two different animals. One, the loan officer, which in my mind was always the person that took the details of the loan application and brought it through until the point where the borrower got the keys. Where we spend the least amount of time, I feel like, is the originator in us, which is what we all by nature or in our hearts are really striving for, which is if we could spend 90% of our day just being an originator and never having to be the loan officer in the business, we would be the happiest people on the face of the planet. But we get sucked into doing all the loan officer duties, and that's what frustrates us the most. And by the time we're done with it, we have no desire to pick up the phone and be a salesperson or to be an originator.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, you know, with where I come from and my background, I've always looked at it. There was a book a number of years ago that I read called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I don't know if you or Dave or anybody else, but I think, Dave, I told you about this before. The E-Myth really breaks it down into something very simple. Every business owner, and that's what each of us are as a business owner, we all wear three different hats. We're the technician, we're the manager, and we're the entrepreneur. And where most businesses fail is the understanding of what it takes to be all three. Well, most of our day truly is spent in the loan officer role, which is the manager and the technician. The manager is the one that manages the day-to-day operations and brings the file through the process in a timely manner to meet our deadlines. Where we spend the least amount of time in our day is being the originator, or in this case, the entrepreneur, the person that attracts the business, the people that bring in, you know, the opportunities to build relationships and to establish trust and to provide loans for the loan partner or the loan officer to be able to handle. I kind of liken it to a restaurant. You know, we're really good at running a restaurant. We can be the cashier, the chef, the dishwasher, the waiter, the busboy, the hostess, and all that stuff. But we fail in a large part to focus on really what our true passion is, which is getting people to come into the restaurant. We have, and each of you have, an amazing team that sits behind you that really runs your restaurant, so to speak, for you. Where we have to get better at is realizing that as long as we're spending being the loan officer in the deal, we're never going to really fully maximize our potential as an originator, and it'll always be this devil, you know, this devil that's inside of us that we can never get away from. And that's really what I'm here to help you guys with.
Awesome.
Okay. So, is everybody on a computer? A few of you guys?
Yes.
Yep. Awesome. Is this Adam or Dave?
Oh, that's Dave.
What's up, Dave? How you doing, buddy?
Doing good by yourself.
I'm doing fantastic. Adam, are you there, buddy, or are you just
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, Adam. Good afternoon, buddy.
Perfect. Good. How are you doing?
And I love your videos that you post. Those are fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I like them a lot. So, hey, listen, this is the first time that we've gotten everybody on the call together. Dave, I know you and I have had a couple calls. Erica, you and I have had a few. And Adam, this is the first time that you and I have ever spoken. So let me just kind of start off by telling you a few basic things about what my soapbox is all about, because I don't really consider myself to be a coach as much as I just consider myself to be a partner, because I've done what you guys have done for 20 years. My business runs daily without me involved in it, and I'm actually blessed to be able to spend a lot of my time working with LOs, teaching them about the things that I experienced and things that I was able to avoid, and some of the holes that I've been able to dig myself out of, and hopefully teach you guys how to avoid some of those. And so really what I'm hoping to do with this class, and what what I hope to accomplish with you guys is just to provide you guys with some nuggets, some information that maybe improves the way you do business, maybe improves the way you say things, maybe helps you capitalize on situations that you see every single day that maybe you're missing. So I'm really just trying to get you to do better with what you already know and just kind of harnessing some of those things by working on some of the little details. We all do a really good job with our clients. Erica, I'm sure on a regular basis you get thank yous from your clients every time you speak to them, and I'm sure your loan partner gets thank yous from your clients every time he or she speaks to them. Is that a fair statement? Do you guys, Adam and Dave, do you guys believe that every time you pick up a call, you probably have to manage some aspect of the file, but very rarely do your clients ever, are they ever unappreciative of the work that you put into the loan?
No. Yeah, I think they're very appreciative.
Right. So how many of you guys right now are happy with the volume of business that you're doing? Nobody?
Nope.
I mean, I'm happy.
There's always room for...
That I don't want more.
Say that again?
I said we can be happy without feeling like we don't, you know, that it's okay to want more.
Sure, sure. Right now, for what you guys have slated for October, does October look like it's going to be a very successful month based on the numbers that you guys are forecasting?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good, good, good. Where does most of your business come from, guys? And it doesn't matter who speaks. I'm just really curious as to where you guys are getting most of your loans.
I'd say for me, it's probably more from friends or family right now, just because I'm starting out pretty new to it.
Okay, okay, fantastic. What about you, Adam? What about you, Dave?
Referral partners, realtors that I work with.
Great, great. And Erica, how about you?
Past client referral, and realtors.
Awesome, awesome. There are three laws that I've always believed in every time I turn the key into my doorknob to come into my business. And that was every time I open my mouth, I always believed that I was the best option for every client to talk to. I know that I'm not the best option for every borrower to do a loan with. And believe me, there are clients I don't want to do a loan for. But I believe that every time I opened my mouth, I was always the best option for my clients to talk to, because I knew that I would provide them with the most honest and genuine and sincere advice possible in hopes of establishing a very high level of trust with them, and for them to go back to the person that advocated me in the first place and say thank you to them. That simple mindset I always called the self-appointment. I always believed that I was appointed as being the best option for them, and I spoke to them that way. But the other part of the mindset that I didn't really grasp until later in my career was there's three laws that we all kind of adhere to. And I'm curious to know what you guys take on this. So there are three types of personalities that operate in our industry. There's the giver, there's the taker, and then there's the matcher. And the giver is the one that gives of themselves unconditionally over and over again. The taker is the one that's always taking and very opportunistic. And then the matcher is the person that actually plays both sides of the coin. Of those three personality types, which one do you think is the most unsuccessful in business? Anybody?
The giver?
Giver? Okay. Why do you say the giver?
Well, typically, if you continue to giving yourself, like, you're going to run out. Like, you're not going to be able to maintain that if you're the only one that's consistently, you know, putting out energy and doing everything.
Right, right.
So
Anybody else?
it won't last long.
Right. You're absolutely right. What about you, Adam, Dave?
I think it has to depend on the business or industry you're in. For us,
Let's just say for ours.
I say the taker. Yeah, because they're not building a relationship with people. They're just constantly taking, and there's no give and take in the relationship, which is what this is all about. So then they're going to run out, and they're not going to have anything to take.
Agreed. What about you, Adam? What about you, Dave?
I say the taker, because you're really you're taking business, you're taking everything from what's coming in. You're not giving anything back. You're not really adding any value. You're just taking,
Right.
taking, and eventually someone's going to find someone else that's going to add more value than you do, and and so I mean, the giver, you could possibly give up and waste your time, but by just taking and not adding value, by giving you're adding value. By taking, you're not adding any value. So
sure. Well, Erica was 100% correct. It's the giver. And I'm surprised because, Erica, you're the first person that's gotten that answer right, and I probably asked that question about 50 times.
Yay! What do I win?
That's a good question. I wasn't even prepared for anybody to get the right answer, so I've never really thought of it. So that makes me wonder, maybe I should start rewarding people for getting the right answer.
No, it's okay. I'm just kidding.
The giver is truly the least successful in business, and specifically our business. And Erica hit the nail on the head when she said you give of yourself every time and you end up not getting anything in return. And what ends up happening is you become so disgruntled or disenfranchised with the business that goes back to what we talked about earlier. When we spend our entire day in being a loan officer, we lose out on so much of the enthusiasm that we start our day with, because that's not what we agreed that we wanted our day to look like. And we know that every day that we're spending being a loan officer, we're missing out on what it's going to take to produce loans for next month as an originator. And so what ends up happening is there's a simple mind shift that needs to take place to become the most successful. And the ironic part is the person that's also the most successful in this business under these three mindsets is also the giver. But the giver that has a request. Now, Erica, it sounds like you get a lot of business from your past clients, and Adam, it sounds like you get friends and family to refer you guys on a regular basis, and you guys are doing fairly well at it. My question is, do you guys get it on a consistent basis? Do you guys have a methodology that allows you to control it like a volume knob, or does it just happen naturally because of who you are as people?
No, it doesn't happen naturally. I have to ask for it.
Okay. So you are what we call a giver with request, which means that you give of yourself and you do a really good job for your clients, but you also recognize the value of having to ask for their help in return. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And is that pretty accurate as to the way you probably operate?
Mostly, I think so, yes.
Okay, awesome. So in relationship to volume, just because I want to drive this point home, how many years have you been in the business, Erica?
Almost 8.
8 years? Okay.
Yes.
What is your August? How many loans did you close in August?
13.
wow.
Okay. Adam or Dave, did either one of you guys close 13?
No.
Okay. How would you guys like to learn how to close 13?
Very much so.
Very much so, right? So it appears that Erica has found maybe what I call to be a rhythm, a very psychological, whether she does it intentionally or not, very psychological approach to doing business that works really, really well. And I know it because I did it, and my team continues to do it, and I know that Erica's business is thriving because of it. So I guess where I want to take this is, one of the things that Erica had said in the beginning was she needs to hire a virtual assistant that allows her to get rid of having to do some of the things that the loan partner is doing now that doesn't really add significant value, meaning because of her loan volume, she needs more attention to the process and the details of the loan because maybe, Erica, you're getting sucked into it too?
Yes.
And that's probably the worst thing for you right now.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying. Yep. Nope. Nobody does. And so one of the things that we have to figure out is the third part of this conversation is the follow-up. Everybody's heard the devil's in the details quote. Have you guys ever heard that phrase before?
Yep.
The devil's in the details, and in this respect, any time that you take off your originator hat and you get sucked into the details of the loan, we have now dealt a hand and we're sitting next to the devil as it relates to pulling you away from really where you should be going. And every moment and every time that you get sucked into the loan, it's time away from being that originator that we all know we have to do in order to survive in this business and to flourish. Where the devil's in the details, the fortune is in the follow-up. Okay? By follow-up, I mean every relationship that you establish, every communication that you have with somebody is a chance for you to follow up on them and to broaden your horizon and expand your brand. Most of us, probably every single day, spend less than 10 to 15% of our day being an originator or following up on opportunities to provide us new loans. Is that an inaccurate or accurate statement, do you think?
Accurate.
It's accurate, isn't it? What about you, Adam, Dave? What do you guys think?
It's accurate.
Okay. So here's the piece of it that I really want to drive home, because right now everybody's busy. 13 loans a month is a ton of business, and 5 loans a month is a ton of business, especially in this marketplace when closing loans is so difficult. If you guys have to be an LO, if you guys have to be a loan officer in your business, what happens if I could teach you, and Erica, you're probably doing this already, what happens if I could teach you how to be a loan officer, but being a loan officer leads you to additional loans? Where if you're going to do the dirty work, why don't I teach you guys how to make it advantageous so that you guys can create opportunities out of being a loan officer?
Yeah.
Does that sound like it might be something you guys would be interested in learning?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. It has to be clearly stated. I don't expect you guys to just let go of your business, meaning I don't want you guys just to turn in a napkin or turn in a 1003 and forget your loans. That's not what this conversation is about. This conversation is more about being an active participant in your business and knowing, with being very intentional of when it makes sense for you to be a loan officer in your business and when it makes sense for you to be an originator in your business. And I define both of those roles as being different, but yet we have to participate in both of them on a daily basis. I realized when I lost interest in being a loan officer was when I spent more time thinking about ways to originate loans and less time about ways on how to perfect processing a loan application. I mean processing, like how do I fill out a 1003, how do I make sure everything's perfect, how do I check and balances it. I arguably, for a better part of my career, which lasted from 1996 to 2013, I literally probably was the weakest loan officer on the block. I didn't do what most loan officers did. I didn't understand a lot of the intricacies of how an underwriter thinks and all the details, so therefore my 1003s and everything, I was the worst at it, guys. I was literally arguably the worst loan officer. But on the flip side, I was probably one of the best originators. I closed, in my final year of business, I closed $15 million of loan volume, and not a single one of it came from a source that wasn't referred to me. I had 5 realtors in my stable, and the rest of it was financial planners, CPAs, and 63% of the rest of the business came from my past client and current client referrals. There are other loan officers that do a lot more business, but what I strived for was balance in my life. I am a single father. I have 2 girls. My number one concern was to be present for them when I was around and not on the phone dealing with fires and issues and challenges. I had that. And at the moment that I turned my business over to a friend of mine, and then again to my wife, it was on autopilot. He has since created a $12 to $13 million a year business out of it, and my wife has also created a separate income stream out of it as well. So the reality is that it's possible to be a very good originator and still manage your pipeline without having to get sucked into the details. if you're smart about it. And so let me kind of say it like this. If I'm going to pick up the phone and call a client, I have a choice on how I can act. I can act like somebody who's simply going to take the information and disseminate it. Let's use this for an example. I'm going to call a client up and say, I didn't think I was going to need your entire tax return. I thought I could get away with just the 1040s, but unfortunately you didn't tell me about a business that you owned. I need your K-1s and all the forms and schedules. That's a conversation that you simply disseminate information. The other side of the equation could be where you were calling up the client and having a conversation with them and turning it into an opportunity for them to recognize how hard and how much this information could potentially probably derail their closing process, while at the same time getting them to recognize the value in what you're doing and why you're calling them in the first place. How many times a day do your clients say thank you to you when you pick up the phone? 4 or 5 times a day do you hear it from your clients and your realtor partners?
Yeah.
What's a typical, Erica, I'm going to ask you this question. What's a typical response that you give to your agents or clients when they say thank you to you or acknowledge some kind of an accolade?
What's my response?
Yeah, what do you tell them? When somebody says, Erica, thank you so much for calling. Hey, I appreciate that. What's your typical response?
My pleasure. Of course,
no problem.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I've implemented so many things that I have some agents that they expect me to call every Tuesday with a pipeline update.
Right.
And they expect me, what I mean? They still say thank you, but they know it's coming.
Right. But at the same time, when you think about all the work that it took to implement that process, when you think about all the work that it takes for you to get on top of a file and to call them, and it's still just minimized by saying it was my pleasure, does it take a little bit of the thunder or your kind of moxie away?
I guess I haven't thought of it that way.
Okay. Let me explain a little bit about how I see things, and this is not right or wrong. This is just the way that I did it and the way that I believe that it worked really, really well. I was really good at getting my clients to refer me loans during and shortly after the process. My conversion rate was about 30 to 40%. So if I had 10 loans in the pipeline, 30 to 40% of them came from a past client who recently closed or a current client referral that happened, while they were in a pre-approval status or an approved status or in an application status. And the reason I got good at that was because I made a couple things abundantly clear with my clients, that it takes an army to take you through the process and to get you closed on time. There's literally 100 things that could go wrong. And I gave my clients a list of the 100 things that could go wrong. And we went over that list. And I basically got them to see how difficult closing a loan is. And this was, 2013. I mean, a lot has changed since then, and it's become abundantly more difficult to close a loan. The truth is that our clients don't have any expectations about what we are until we set them for them. And every time we choose to minimize our clients' appreciation by saying my pleasure or it was no problem or hey, it was the least I could do, we lose a little bit of our opportunity to become that giver with a request. And the point of it is I think a lot of times when we're in the weeds of doing our loans, we don't really think about the opportunities that are staring us in the face because we're so interested in just getting through the weeds that we miss out on the opportunities that are right there. And a lot of times when we're just doing the task, we don't ever have the mindset to put our originator hat on. I know that there are specific things that you guys, when you call up a client, there's not a better person to handle. I know that when you guys are dealing with the loan, there are points during the process where if you picked up the phone and not your processor or your loan partner, your client would be very appreciative. It's kind of, I liken it to the way we go and visit our doctors. I know that when I go to a doctor, how much time do we spend with the actual doctor compared to their staff? Probably I spend maybe 20% of my time with the doctor. Yeah, I spend very little time with my physician, right? I usually spend it with the nurse's aide and the practitioner and all those other people, right?
Yeah.
So if I get a call from my doctor's office and it's the nurse who's calling me or the doctor who's calling me, what's the perception on my end of the telephone if the doctor calls me versus the nurse?
There's a problem?
Possibly, yep. Or it's important enough that he calls me, right? Which more times than not, it's a problem. But the reality is what we think that a doctor's calling us for is a problem and that nobody else can solve it or nobody else can address it. It's the same message that we send to our clients. When we're the one that picks up the telephone and has a conversation with our client, our mindset is more or less we're just an order taker. We're the nurse practitioner, and all this stuff for our clients because we haven't positioned ourselves well enough to make them believe that we are more of an owner of our practice. Like a lot of us walk around the business world every day thinking we're just a loan officer, when in reality, each and every one of you is an entrepreneur. Each and every one of you is a business owner. The mindset is that when we call our clients, we need to believe that our clients see us as the doctor in this relationship, and it provides us a chance to be able to come at them with an entirely different mindset. And the reason I say it like that is because every time you pick up the phone, your clients are extremely appreciative. They're extremely thankful that you're calling them, because weren't you the reason why they agreed to work with your company in the first place?
Yeah.
But too often when we interact with our clients through the process, we're just trying to push it along, right? We're just picking up the phone and giving them details and giving them information just to keep the ball rolling, and we never really capitalize on what the emotional side of the business is really giving us. And that is what I call referable moments. And this may seem insignificant right now, but the referable moments create a brand in your business that insulates you against the collapses and the ebbs and flows of our market. I was able to survive from 2007 through 2012 very successfully because I had over 600 people advocating me to the people that they care about. Every day of my life, I was asking, or in this case, making a request for help by every one of my clients. I never really got frustrated having to get into the loans, because I knew that if I was getting into the loan, it meant that I had a chance to shine. I had a chance to get a wow or a thank you out of my client, which put me in a position to remind them how important it was that they advocated me to the people in their life that they care about. Now, what I'm missing, and this is intentionally, is that it goes back to the way we set the stage with our clients from the very beginning when we interact with them, from the moment they pick up the phone and call us. And I'm trying to drive home a point of this, is that your businesses, whether you're closing 13 loans a month or 5 loans a month or 2 loans a month, have opportunities that you are able to get free, and I say this pretty aggressively, you are missing out on free money in the sense that you have people that have agreed to work with you and to provide you with probably the most personal, most private information that they probably don't share to anybody. And they're giving you the reins to control something that's probably going to be the most stressful and largest investment of their life. And we fail to capitalize on asking them for help, because we spend most of our day just being a loan officer, and we're not really an originator. And we wake up every day hoping that our business is there the next day, and we hope we have enough time in the day to call our clients or to call our realtors and ask them for business. I think one of the greatest missteps that we make in business is that we fail to connect with the largest group of people that would gladly recommend us or advocate us if we simply asked. Does anybody understand what I just said? Does anybody get that?
Yeah.
Let me give you some, what about you boys? Adam, David?
Yeah, I get it. Quick question. So are you saying that while we're in the process of doing a loan with the buyer, and we're getting all their docs and everything, we should still be asking them for more business or referrals from their friends?
100%. And let me give you the answer to that. When your clients are buying a house, Adam, how many people are they talking to about them buying a house?
Probably a lot.
Every time they get, let's say they do a home inspection, they're probably telling people that they got a home inspection, right?
Yeah.
Every time that they, whenever an appraisal is done, do you think they're telling people that their appraisal came in?
Yep. Yep.
Just think about for a moment the people that you know versus the people that you care about. And let me narrow that down for you. I know 1,000 people. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I know 1,000 people. I only care about 20. And what you're doing is you're identifying with, if this person is so excited about buying a house and I'm doing such a great job with them at it, you know that they're telling their people that they care about how the home buying process is going. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So if you agree with that, why would you not tell them at the beginning that one of the agreements that they have to agree with, one of the contingencies of working with you is that if you earn the right, meaning if I, Adam, do a great job and I'm earned the right, that you will advocate me to the people in your life that you care about while you're going through the process. We expect that we can't ask for help until the deal's done. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you that is the greatest misstep that we could possibly make, because once the deal's done, Adam, they're done talking about the house to everybody. There's a part of our brain called the reticular activator. It's a scientifically known fact that I drive a BMW X5. I don't miss a BMW X5 that drives past me when I'm driving my car. I know that if I'm in the market to buy a phone, I'm paying attention to every phone commercial that comes on TV. I know that if I'm excited about football season, I'm paying attention to every ad that comes on TV that has a football in it, whether it's an ad for football or not. There's a part of our brain that filters out millions and millions of images and information and only allows the parts that are relevant to us to get in. You would be amazed at how many people that are thinking about buying a home or refinancing a home cue into the conversation that your client is having with one of their cubicle mates or one of their office mates or one of their friends, or chatting about it on Facebook. And here's the statistic that I want you guys to remember. And I record these calls, so I'll always send out the replay, so don't feel like you guys got to write this stuff down if you want to. The statistic goes like this. Out of 10 people, 2 of your clients will refer you to their friends and their family and the people they care about just because that's who they are. Adam, I'm going to imagine that you're kind of a social maven, like you're kind of the social director of your network of friends.
Yeah.
I believe that you're kind of like the hub that kind of keeps it all together, and you're kind of like the go-to person. Dave, I think you're the same way, and Erica, I think you're the same way as well. Your personality type probably fits about 20% of the general population. There's another 20% of the population that only works in an introverted mindset. They don't really talk to many people. They're very secluded. They don't really brag. They don't really, don't really bash, or they don't really do anything. They just kind of exist, and they don't really cause any waves. They just kind of float along. What you are left with is 60% of the population. The 60% make up the people that for the most part, are genuinely good people. They would help you if they knew you needed help. They would be the ones that would be there for you if something was to go down. Think about your friends, your close friends. I would venture to guess that out of 10 friends, if you were moving, 2 of them wouldn't show up to help. But probably 2 of them would be there without you even having to ask, and 6 of them would show up probably if you begged them and said there was going to be beer and pizza. But they would show up nevertheless, and they would be happy to do it. But they sometimes just need a little bit of enticing because they're just that. They're just that kind of a person. Your clients are very similar. If you're not asking your clients for help, if you're not setting the stage properly in your initial consultation, if you're not making it abundantly clear from the very onset of the relationship that you're establishing, you're missing out on a very, very easy 60% increase in your business leads and probably about a 20 to 40% increase in your closed loan volume. And all it requires is a little bit of practice and a little bit of conversational skill that I'm hoping to instill and teach in you guys so that at the very least, it helps you increase your business. You can do it for free, and it doesn't really take that much more effort than what you're putting into it now. And then the reality is, you get validated for doing all the crap work of being a loan officer while you're trying to figure out ways just to be an originator.
Great.
Who's in? Who's in?
I'm in.
All right.
Man.
Does any of the stuff that I just tell you seem complicated?
No.
I'm not a complicated person, guys. I'm probably the dullest pencil in the box. But when it comes to building relationships with clients, I had a choice. I could either do it by accident, or what I call hopium, and hopium is a drug. I just want everybody to realize that it is a drug that most people live on. This word hopium is we wake up every day hoping that our business grows, or we wake up every day hoping that what we're doing works, or we wake up every day hoping that what we're doing is going to turn our lives around. The truth in the matter is that it doesn't take a lot to change the way you do business. It's just doing very common things uncommonly well, and it starts with the way we perceive ourselves in front of our clients. We have to first believe that we are the best person for our clients to talk to. We don't believe that we're the best loan officer to do a loan with. We just have to believe we're the best loan officer for our clients to talk to about what their options are. We have to understand that we have to be givers with a request. And you guys are already that anyway. You just aren't making the request consistently. And the last one is the clear understanding that the devil's in the details, but the fortune's in the follow-up. And realizing that every time you get sucked into the details, you're spending less time doing the follow-up. So if you're going to have to play with the devil, let's make sure that you're going to get something out of it, and let's make sure that's another opportunity or another referral. That make sense?
Yep. Yes.
Any questions?
I'm good.
Thank you. Is there anything I covered or that I didn't cover that you guys want me to expand on?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
Okay. So I'm only going to keep you guys for another 10, 15 minutes. Just trying to figure out what would be the next best thing to kind of work with you on real quick. Kind of a short time frame for me to get into something like that. Erica, tell me, when your client calls you, how do you handle the first 5 minutes of your conversation on the phone with your client? Like, what does it sound like?
Depends on what they're calling for. I was like, I mean, this is what, you know, this is going to sound really crazy. So I've time blocked my day. So
yep.
I only answer my phone and or return phone calls at certain times of the day.
That's
so
fine.
The other times I can be doing, you know.
Yeah. Your loan officer duties.
Right. So usually, my voicemail says that if they need immediate assistance, to contact my loan partner.
Right.
So
but as it specifically relates to it, but as it specifically relates to a new client, if I'm a new client and I call you and I get your voicemail and says, "Hey, Erica, this is Doug. I'm looking at buying a home or need to refinance. Here's my phone number. Call me." What does your dialogue sound like when you first pick up the phone and start that conversation?
I pretty much introduce myself, and depending on, I usually try to return phone calls the same day. So if it's been later than that, then I usually apologize in the delay to get it back to them, and ask them to tell me a little bit what they're looking for their mortgage needs. So usually they kind of take the ball and run with it then.
So you really don't set the stage for why they should use you?
Not at that point. I mean, the conversation is usually once they start telling me what they're looking for, then I can kind of go into, especially a big key seller. I don't know if anybody else knows this, but especially if they want to look at a conventional loan, but they don't have 20% down, is me telling them about looking at different mortgage insurance options like LPMI or single paid, and they love that. Because sometimes they've already spoken to somebody else that didn't offer that option. So that's usually how it goes. But this is going to sound horrible, but I usually I have pretty good pull through. But I think that's come from implementing, putting them in a database, putting them into a drip campaign, calling them once a week, staying in front of them.
Very consistent follow-up.
Kind of connects them to me.
Awesome. Okay.
So I don't feel like I'm selling very much. I'm just giving them good
and that's not what, and you hit the nail on the head again. This isn't about selling. This is about attracting people to a value that you have to offer that makes you different than the LO that called them 2 days ago, or decides to shop you on rate, or decides to compare you to their bank or their credit union, and so on and so forth, which a lot of us have to deal with on a daily basis. And the reason I ask that, and my follow-up question to you on that is, do you track your business? I think I asked you this before, and you said maybe you don't.
Like, track it, like where it comes from?
And let me define it for you in this respect. I define a lead as anybody who we talk to that we get a name, a phone number, and some information about what they're seeking. On average, I had about 30 to 35 leads a month coming into my business. 30 to 35. And I was only able to successfully, at a peak, probably convert 45 to 50% of them into closable deals. The rest of them were people that were just not qualified, or I decided weren't a good fit, or I couldn't provide them what they were looking for. Most of the time, what I experience with a lot of LOs is that they get a lot more leads coming in than they give themselves credit for, but by doing that, it diminishes their conversion rate. And a lot of the times, what we miss out on is providing our clients who we're talking to on the phone with a reason why they should work with us. And it sounds like you're pretty good at giving them a reason regarding technical things with regards to LPMI versus MI and all the other reasons why we're really good at our jobs. But when you peel away the layers and try to answer the question for yourself as to why my client wants to work with me, I'm curious to know if either one of you guys or any of you guys have ever brought that up to the table before your client has had a chance to think about it or ask it. And let me say it to you in this respect. We all have significant others, or most of us do. I know that when I am sitting there and my wife walks into the room and she asks me, how do I look? And I go, oh, you look fantastic. Or she walks into the room and I go, wow, you look fantastic, before she has to solicit it out of me, there's a significantly different feeling that she gets if I notice it before she asks me about it. Would everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about the person, in this case me? What would her perception of me be if I noticed it before she had a chance to ask me? Makes me feel like I'm paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like I'm engaged, right?
Absolutely.
Makes me feel like I'm really involved, or I noticed her. And it makes us connected. I made a deposit in her without having to be asked. That makes anybody feel good, right? Any one of us would love that. It's really cool. I mean, our supervisors, our businesses, our friends, I mean, it doesn't matter. Anytime somebody acknowledges something we do without having to ask for it, it's kind of special. Do any of you guys think, does anybody on this call think that at any point in time your clients are thinking whether or not they should use you? Do you think that there's ever a question in their mind that runs across and says, I wonder why, or I wonder if I should use them?
Yeah.
Only one of you guys thinks that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say, yeah, I would think that, just because there's so many different options as a buyer, so they could do anything.
Right. There's no question that every client that we speak to in 5 minutes has already answered the question for themselves on whether or not they want to use you. They may decide to use us because we answered a question for them that they had. It may be because they just like our tone. They may do it because they like the way we communicate. They may decide they want to use us for a number of different reasons. But I never really took that for chance, because I never believed that I had a product that was so unique that it cornered the market. I always believed that I was playing against very equal and level playing field when it came down to comparing apples to apples. The good news is that most of the people in our business don't compare apples to apples. We're really dealing with grapefruits. We don't really have any competition. Most of the people that are still in this business are very, very weak in what they do and how they do it, which bodes the question that in any time that we can present ourselves to our clients and ask them the question before they ask it, meaning, you know what, Mr. Client, thanks for calling. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about me and why I believe that I'm the best option for you. That's where I'm going to leave this call today, because that's going to take a lot more to get into than what we have time for. The truth of the matter is, guys, I want you guys to do something for me. And Erica, I know I asked you to work on something for me the last time we spoke. Did you have any time to work on that? Did you think about it?
Honestly,
no.
No.
That's okay. Closing 13 loans a month, I don't blame you. I'm okay with that. That's cool. What I want you guys to really understand out of this call today is this. I want you to start thinking about what your value is to your clients and ask yourself, from their point of view, why should I use you? Careful, because we're going to fill the question. We're going to answer the question with all the adjectives that everybody says. I care. I communicate. I'm available. I know what I'm doing. I deliver on my promises. If you were to ask yourself all of that stuff, answer it with this question after you wrote all that down. How do you prove it to them in the first 5 minutes of talking to them on the phone? How do you qualify it? And that's where it becomes really, really sticky. And the whole purpose that I'm getting you guys to start thinking about is your value as a loan officer can be increased by 30 to 40% if we capitalize on a few minor conversations and we start learning how to request and ask at the right time. And there's going to be plenty of right times, I can tell you this right now. I'm going to work with you guys on that because I want to see you guys increase your volume. Now, Erica, I know that you've got a good volume going on. I don't know if your goal is to double your... What's that?
I always want more. That's how it works.
All right. Then I want more for you, so we can make that happen. So I'm willing to bet you that within 90 days, I can get your volume from 13 loans a month or whatever you're doing. I'm going to get it up about 30 to 40%. And for the gentleman on the call, my goal is to be the same. So if you guys agree to work with me every week and agree to take what I tell you and implement it into your business, I most assuredly can tell you that you will see a 30 to 40% increase in your closed loan volume without having to do much else and to not spend a penny more than what you're doing already.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, guys. Have a great week. Enjoy your weekend with your friends and family. Stay good, stay healthy. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week, same time.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look for the replay. I'll send the replay out here in the probably by tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Great. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great rest
See
of
you
your
guys.
week.
All right, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.